Welcome back to Rain Check Vancouver, your dose of digestible, completely unfiltered Vancouver news, delivered directly from our kitchen table to your commute.
And if you're stuck in traffic right now, you know exactly what we're talking about. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Maya. We are your hosts, and we are still married, despite having very different opinions on the new short-term rental bylaws.
We try, folks, we try. So let's dive right in. This week, man, it feels like the theme for Vancouver has just been delay. Specifically, delay and massive overspending on things we desperately need.
You're talking about the Broadway Subway extension, aren't you?
I am. They just dropped the news that the cost is swelling again, right? We're looking at over $4 billion now. And they're pushing the completion date back. Again. It was supposed to be 2025, then 2026, and now maybe 2027.
That's rough. $4 billion, Jordan. I was reading the reports from the City Hall presser, and the explanation felt so vague. It's like they just shrug and say, oh, geology. Well, did nobody study the geology before we started digging a tunnel under the entire Kitsilano neighborhood? Come on.
Right? It's classic Vancouver mega project stuff. You start with this super cool idea, finally, fast transit to UBC. And then 2 years in, it's triple the price, and you're still taking the 99 Beeline bus, which frankly smells like yesterday's lunch.
Tell me about it. But think about the people relying on this. The Gen Z students who were promised this when they started high school are probably going to be graduating university before this thing is running. It completely tanks their efficiency. It's not just a transit delay, it's a huge economic drag.
Yeah, and the optics are terrible too. When you see TransLink struggling for general funding, like for bus maintenance, and then they're just hemorrhaging billions into this one tunnel.
It feels like they're patching a canoe with gold leaf. It's ridiculous. I think the province needs to step in harder on the management of these mega projects. This isn't just about unexpected rock. This is about project management failure, plain and simple.
No way they do that though, right? They'll just kick the can down the road and tell us the benefits are going to be amazing once it's done. Which, they probably will be, but the when is the issue. Speaking of things that cost too much and are taking too long to fix, let's talk about housing. Because you know we can't go one show without discussing the rent situation.
Oh God, yes, my blood pressure immediately spiked. We got the new rent increase caps confirmed, but honestly, it feels like putting a tiny Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Well, the average rent in Vancouver for a non-furnished one-bedroom is now hitting, wait for it, over $2,600.
No way.
Yeah, $2,600. And that data came out this week. It's absolutely pushing people out. If you're a 22-year-old trying to start your career here, you are mathematically excluded, unless you have 3 roommates or your parents are paying.
Exactly. It's not sustainable. And I know the province has been pushing these density measures, trying to force more multiplexes, allowing smaller homes on large lots. But those solutions take years to hit the market supply. The problem is happening right now.
Really? You don't think that density rules are going to help quickly? I thought that was the big provincial silver bullet, forcing municipalities to build up.
Well, it is the right policy direction, absolutely. But zoning changes don't magically make construction cheaper. We still have labor shortages, interest rates are high, and permitting is slow. We need something drastic right now to stop the bleeding. And that's where the short-term rental crackdown, Airbnb, comes in.
Okay, now this is where we disagree, right? I think the Airbnb crackdown is maybe a bit of an overreach. We need tourists. We need flexibility.
No, Jordan, stop. This isn't about flexibility. It's about reclaiming housing stock. The city estimates that thousands of homes, thousands, that should be available for long-term rental have been converted into de facto hotels. That's not a housing tool. It's a commercial investment strategy that starves the actual rental market. If we can force, say, 1,500 units back into the long-term supply, that is instant relief. It creates competition among landlords, which puts downward pressure on that insane $2,600 number.
Okay, I see your point on the supply shock. Maybe I'm just thinking selfishly about the one time we rented an Airbnb for a weekend staycation in Gastown, and it was fantastic.
See, that's the problem. You prioritize your one fun weekend over someone else having a stable home. Typical husband.
But genuinely, I think the enforcement on short-term rentals is the quickest, most actionable thing the city can do to stabilize those ridiculous numbers for our younger listeners right now. Because if they can't afford to live here, who is going to be running the 99B line when the subway finally opens in 2028?
Fair enough, fair enough. We've got delayed transit, unaffordable housing. Seems like a pretty normal week in Vancouver.
It really does. But hey, at least the sun is out today. We'll take the win.
Always look for the silver lining. All right, that wraps up this edition of Rain Check Vancouver. Thanks for letting us break down the news while you try to focus on that spreadsheet.
We'll catch you next time.